Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Busy Moms Fitness, Nutrition, Mindset, and Accountability community. This community is for busy moms who are looking to take back their life, feel more confident, be stronger, and have more energy, all while learning simple habits and changes that are going to allow you to reach your goals without having you give up more time in your day, your wine and cheese, your beer and pizza, or whatever that guilty pleasure may be. There's a few things I like to talk about before we get into our weekly trainings, and it's how to get the most out of these calls. Number one, the way to get the most out of these calls is by clicking that little Zoom link above my head in Facebook as you are seeing me live right now. What that's going to do is it's going to pop you into the Zoom room where you have access to actually ask questions, to do one-on-one coaching. You can jump in, actually be here and be present. The second best way to get the most out of these calls is by just being live on Facebook, interacting as if you are here in the Zoom room with us. But I do know not everyone can jump on Zoom at noon. So if you are in there in the comments answering the questions, if you are there right now, drop hashtag live in the comments below. Let me know you are there and that you're listening. Let us know who you are and where you're from as well. The third best way to get the most out of these calls is to either watch the replay on Facebook, where you are seeing this live right now, or watching the replay on our YouTube channel. Either place, whichever one is best for you, is where I want you to watch it. As long as you watch it, that's the third best way to get the most out of these calls. Same thing as if you were here live. Participate in the comments. The chat lives on. So if you ask a question in this video, let's say you're watching this 6 months down the road, I see those notifications. I go back, I answer them. You will get a response. Just because you're not here live does not mean you won't get the coaching. You will continue to get the coaching. So if you are watching the replay, drop hashtag replay in the comments below and let us know you are here. Introduce yourself. Let us know who you are and where you're from. We've got people in this community from all over the world. So it's really cool to see when we've got people in the same area, or we've got people who are, I'm traveling to this place, or whatever that may be. So let's get into today's training. It has been officially a week since we launched our 21-day Control Your Day challenge. It's a completely free challenge. If you missed last week's training, drop control in the comments below. I'll get you tagged in last week's training so you know all of the details. But if you've watched last week's and you've been hesitant to sign up, or you're like, my life is too busy right now, I'm not able to take something else on, I totally understand. I'm going to drop the link in the comments below after this call, and you will see up above my head the link to click on and sign up for the 21-day Control Your Day challenge. Just know that when you sign up, what it's going to look like is within 24 hours, you'll get an email from me to set up your My Coach account where we will actually be having the challenge. So knowing that if you are signing up right now, you are going to get started in the next 24 hours. If you are someone who needs to wait, send me a message and say, I really want to do this, but can you reach back out to me in 6 months, in 6 weeks, in 2 weeks, when life slows down, whatever that looks like. But if you missed last week and you're ready to sign up now, click that link above my head, or I'll drop it in the comments here shortly after this call so you can just sign up direct. So during this challenge, just to kind of give you a little glimpse and why we tailored today's training into that. So during this challenge, there are 7 actions that you are asked to perform daily. And a lot of them all of them actually revolve around your health as a whole. So we have exercise, we have nutrition, we have hydration, we have personal development, we've got mindset, we've got organization, all of these things that really make a whole when it comes to being successful in your health. So it's just a little mini challenge. But why am I sharing that? And that is because one of the things that is holding you back, whether you want to admit it or not, is your mindset. Our mindset around these 7 actions or everyday tasks or a situation or whatever it may be, our mindset is everything. And it's something we don't want to talk about. It's something that I didn't realize was so important until about a couple years ago, and each year and every time I learn about it, I learn more and more how that really needs to be the first thing we work on before all these other things. But sometimes it's hard to buy into the mindset portion because we don't see the scale change. We don't see our number of hours of sleep increase right away. It's a little bit harder to see those results and those changes in our mindset. So that's why we usually talk about it kind of towards the middle of working together. But today we're going to be talking about mindset, and you need to focus on your mindset daily. And that is that truth bomb for today. Whether you want to admit it or not, you may think you have the best mindset in the world. I'm going to tell you what, we are all changing, evolving, and we all struggle with it even in the littlest portions throughout our day. If you have not read the book, The Gap and the Gain, I highly recommend it. In the challenge, I talk about it and I recommend it. We've got a few people who are reading it right now and they're absolutely loving it. I'm not completely through it, but I'm about halfway and I love it. And it's a really great mindset book to help us get a different perspective. And that's what we're going to be talking about. So I'm gonna ask you a few questions here, and that's kind of what's gonna prompt you to see where our natural inclination and our natural conversation goes. So I've got a few statements, kind of questions that I'm gonna ask you. And as I ask them, I'm gonna give a few seconds after, and I want you to type your response, that first word or that first response that comes to mind. I want you to type it in the comments below, push enter, and send it. I want to see your answers to these as these go through. There's no wrong answer. There is no, oh, she says this thing or she says that thing. None of that matters. I just want you to think of, if I say the color blue, what's the first thing that comes to mind? That's not the first question. But for instance, that's what I want you to think about. So the first question or statement that I have for you is, if I asked you to do 30 minutes of exercise a day, what is that first thought or word that comes to mind? Type it in the comments, shoot it up. And I'll go through the answers that I see at the end. Question number 2, 90 ounces of water is optimal for you. Reading 20 minutes a day will change your life. Personal development. Remember, just the first thing that comes to mind. I see people in the comments right now. Don't think about it. Type it and send it. Your current mindset. How do you see your future? Okay, so that is all of the questions I have for you right now. And I'm going to read some of the answers that we have. So we've got doable for number 1, which was exercise. We've got yikes when it comes to 90 ounces of water. We've got 20 minutes of reading a day will change your life. Agreed. Personal development takes time. We've got hot mess. We've got busy. We've got complicated. We've got coming too fast. So I love this because we see a little bit of both. But if I were to look at these, a majority of these, just because how we naturally are more self-limiting of, for instance, yikes or hot mess or busy or coming too fast. Things like those can be very limiting in how we view other things. So when we think about our mindset, and when I say 30 minutes of exercise a day, and let's say the thing is I don't have enough time, that right there, let's create the awareness around it of, okay, if you want to do it, we can make the time. And how can we reframe that into 30 minutes of exercise a day? Doable. And that's what I love that Karen put, is that for 30 minutes of exercise, she put doable in there. So when we think of these, and these are ones that are in the 21-day control your day challenge. I pulled some out of there. But just think about everyday life. You run into a situation with a project and let's say, okay, our deadline's tomorrow. What is that first thought that comes to mind? Holy crap, I don't have enough time. I need this, this, and this from people. It's all of that overload of all the things that we can't control, we can't do. Same thing goes if all of a sudden school's canceled. Now we have the kids at home and we can't do the things we were planning to do. Our mind defaults to the negativity, it defaults to that limiting belief. But That's not how it has to be. The reason it's that way, or one of the reasons, is just the way everything around us is. If we scroll through social media, we see negative beliefs, if we and limiting beliefs. If we are watching TV, if we're interacting with people, whatever that may be. So one of the biggest things that you can do is just create the awareness around around the awareness around you, what you are consuming, who you are talking to, and what your default response is. So now I want you to reframe these. So when I say 30 minutes of exercise, if you originally put in there a negative one or a limited belief or I don't have enough time, I want you to now flip that. If what you put was doable, for instance, if can you make that a stronger? Can you make that absolutely that like can you make that even stronger? Just because the stronger and more confident we are in that response, and the more we just practice that reframe every single day, every single conversation, the easier it's going to be in the long term to shift that mindset. So I'm going to go through that list again. And I want you to do the same thing we did the first time, but I want the positive. So I actually want you to think about it. Rather than it having being that first response, I want you to think about what the opposite is. How can you reframe it? So 30 minutes of exercise every single day. 90 ounces of water every single day. Routine. I like that. 20 minutes of reading a day will change your life. Like a breeze. I like it. Personal development. Your future. And I'm going to throw in a few that I didn't say the first time because I want you to think on your toes, hear the negative or hear that first thing and reframe it. Your diet. The first thing I hear about people when I ask about their diet is, oh, it's crap, but I don't want to fix it. So, how do we reframe that? I've got one more for you. In my control. Ooh, I like that. Balanced, unlimited, habitual, minimum. Awesome. I've got one more. What happens? And for one of you who are watching, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about here. What happens when you wake up and it's an F it day? You don't want to do absolutely anything. Life is just not something that you want to move forward with. You're just like, ah, I don't want to work. I don't want to walk. I don't want to do any of the things. What's that reframe you're going to give to yourself when it's just an F it day? Because we have them. We may have them multiple times a week. Reset and start again. I love it. Okay, so that's a fun little game that I like to play um, because it's really easy when we're in conversations to have a default. So it takes time and it takes energy to actually reframe that. So I've told you all this. So now what I want you to do is I'm going to tell you the steps on how to just get aware of this and how to kind of make some of these changes throughout your day. If you want to jump into the Control Your Day challenge, drop control in the comments below or click on the link above or the one that I'll be posting in the comments below to just sign up direct and get started for the next 24 hours. So I've told you about our mindset and how we can reframe it and seeing the difference in what our first word is usually versus how if we take a second and we reframe, we can actually get a more positive outcome out of it that's going to push us forward rather than hold us back. So the number one thing that you have to do is just be aware. In every single conversation, when something is happening or you run into a blockage or you read something, whatever that is, we have to just be aware of, is this pushing me forward or is this pulling me back? And that's it. Once you feel like you're starting to get that awareness, you then get to call yourself out. When you start to say, oh, my diet just sucks. No, I'm really trying towards my diet. Or I think I need some help, or whatever that may be. Call yourself out on saying that about yourself, saying that about others, whatever that may be. I've always loved the statement of, would you talk to your friend the way you talk to yourself? Or would you talk to your kids the way you talk to yourself? So remembering that in our conversations, not just around us, but with us. The other thing is there's no shame in any of this. We all do this all day long. So don't ever shame yourself. Just acknowledge that it's happening because it happens all the time. And I know, Karen, you're reading The Gap and the Gain, and they repeat things multiple times in that book, but it's because it's so easy to learn one thing, say, hey, I'm going to implement this, and then go back to the way we were before. So it takes practice and repetitions and acknowledging it all the time. So if you could become aware, call yourself out, and don't shame yourself for any of this, and intentionally go about this every single day in every single conversation, every single thing you read, whatever that may be. And I know that sounds exhausting, but that first awareness piece is easy. You'll notice as soon as I bring the conversation up, you'll be like, oh, yep, I did that. It's like when somebody points out if you say a bunch, they say, you say a lot. And then you realize all the times you say throughout the day. The awareness portion will catch up and you'll notice it. And then from there, we just work our way down. So I want to know, because we've got a few of you on Facebook, what questions do you have around this? And what was your biggest insight from today? We're kind of going to keep today nice and short because I know mindset can be one of those where we can get too deep into the weeds of it, and then I can completely lose you. So we're going to kind of stick with just kind of the surface level. But if you want to learn a little bit more and you want to kind of jump in and start working on your mindset, you want to work on your overall health for the next 21 days, drop control in the comments below or click the link above or the one I'm going to be putting in the comments here shortly so that you can actually sign up for our 21-day Control Your Day challenge. If you click that link, it will also tell you all the details of the challenge. So if you would like to do that, I would love to see you in there. We currently have 20 people in, which is super awesome. So I would love to know your insights and takeaways from today. And if you've got any questions, I will answer anything on mindset or anything not even about mindset. That's what these calls are for, is for you to jump on, ask questions, get coaching, for me to help you in whatever way that looks like. And if you're not comfortable posting the question because it's a little too personal, just shoot me a message and say, I saw the training. This is the question that I have, blah, blah, blah. And we can either jump on a quick call or we'll do a few voice memos back and forth on it. That's what I like to do during Messenger instead of just texting back and forth. So with that being said, I'm going to give Facebook about 2 more seconds here. Next week, we have, let me grab our schedule so I can let you know what we have next week. Next week, we have correcting your posture in just 5 minutes a day. So for those of you who are in the challenge, 5 minutes of stretching. I'm going to be giving you corrective exercises for your posture that would count towards that stretching. So if you're a part of the challenge and you're kind of starting to go a little brain blank on what types of stretching you should be doing, make sure you join us next Thursday because we're going to be talking about how you can correct your posture in just 5 minutes a day. Be doing about 4 or 5 simple exercises or stretches to help get our body feeling good and why having good posture is super important. Thanks for leading us through this challenge and for all you do. You are welcome. Thank you for being here and joining the challenge and being on today. I hope everybody has a fantastic Labor Day weekend. If you have any questions at all, shoot me a message, post in the Facebook group, do whatever is easiest for you, and I will get back to you. Have a